Well, at this time of year, like it's the whole conversation, really. Like it should be, anyways. So, like in December or November, December is when everybody starts planning their years, and I did the same. Like massively plan my year. I try to start planning actually in October because I used to do it in December many years ago at the beginning of my career. It wasn't enough time to be objective and critical with your plan before January 1st hits. So like I would start going in like in mid to late October, which I did again this past year. I actually wrote I didn't write, we had a podcast interview and I talked about having fewer goals, which is kind of controversial. But this being like mid-January is a time that we should be talking about it again, because people have New Year's resolutions or big plans for the new year. This is the time where they realize like, oh crap, I'm like not executing as hard as I thought I would, and I'm already behind. That's when people start to get like depressed and feeling, not that great about where they're at already. So oftentimes they give up and they retreat back to being kind of like, average for like another 11 and a half months, when they probably just need that little check-in right now. And the podcast that we released in early December, I think it was about having fewer goals. And I think this is a great time for people to maybe see or hear this at home and understand like, what is the opportunity? What did I miss when I put my goals together for 2019 back in December, November, or October? And I say have fewer, because we go into the year before the year starts thinking we're going to work 18-hour days or 16-hour days. We get all motivated and we think we're going to have the year we've never had before, and it never works out. Like it just doesn't. Life gets in the way. Competing priorities happen. So you because you think you have all this time, you think, well, I could do more, much more than ever before, because I've got all this time. So what ends up happening is people write down, and I've done this myself over the years, people write down like 6 to 10 goals that they're going to execute on in the new year, and they feel like, because you're going to work so hard and so many hours, it's just all going to happen. And then you get to like literally like middle of January like we are now, and it's just not happening. And it's because life happens and it gets in the way. And unfortunately, the goals you end up working on are usually the least important to you, because they're kind of the easiest to make happen. They're already probably fairly in motion in your life from the previous year, so your inbox is being pinged all the time with activities or questions or tasks in relationship to some of those maybe less important goals that you have. So if you didn't do this at the end of 2018 and it's now mid-January, take that list of goals, cut it down from 8 or 10 goals, and try to go for like 2 or 3, like 4 at the most. And the reason for that is you need time to work on these really tough goals. It will take you more time than you think. There'll be more challenges and maybe more opportunities that all take time. And like the best way to answer, like if you've made your list short enough to satisfy this exercise is, if, like I said to you right now, by the end of the year, if you only succeed at these 3 goals, but you crush them, like you absolutely knock them out of the park, how happy will you be? I think what you're going to say is that you'd be pumped. Like that would be great if you knocked those out of the park. And maybe those other 6 or 5 goals, they didn't get worked on at all. So I say let's have fewer and really focus on what serves us and what will make us truly happy, and not think that we have to do all this extra stuff because we're entrepreneurial or a hard worker, or we bought into this whole hustle thing. I love the hustle. Let's just make sure we're hustling on the right amount of things. It's not the big goals, it's the number of big goals that's really the issue. So that's what I do. I cut your list down quite a bit, and then like how do you keep that going for the year? And I think it's the ability to say no, because like the utopian situation is that 3 months into the year you find out that you're not nearly as busy as you thought you were, but you're also really crushing these 3 goals that you have. So now you have some bandwidth, and bandwidth is like terrible. Like it's a curse word for entrepreneurs or achievers to actually have like extra time in your schedule. But I'll tell you, that extra time is when you innovate, right? Innovation doesn't happen because it's on a to-do list, or it's in an email, or even in your calendar necessarily. Innovation happens when the mind is free and you've got clarity and you can relax a little bit. A lot of people say innovation comes to them in the shower, because that's like the moment of their day where they actually have like time to themselves to just take a breath and relax. But find that bandwidth, and by limiting the number of goals you're working on, it might, that's the goal. Is you want to, with that plan, is that you want to be able to find that bandwidth. And then how do you keep that bandwidth? And it's the art of saying no, and there's all these books on it, and I'm sure there's lots of ways and tactics out there to do that. I say the best way to figure out what you want to say no to, so you kind of have a clear criteria of what to say no to. So when it comes into generally your inbox, your email, you already know that this is something you're not supposed to be working on or getting involved in. Is look back at your calendar from the previous year or two and highlight all the items that served you, that are not going to serve you in this new year if you continue to work on them. Highlight the people, highlight the types of meetings, like all these meetings that didn't serve you, or you wish you didn't do afterwards, or they really pissed you off because it wasn't helpful for you, or this person tends to cancel a lot on you. Could be many things, and we take all these meetings as achievers or entrepreneurs because opportunity just looks great. We take opportunity because it's an opportunity, but it could be more of a distraction to the opportunity that's most important to us, is really how I view that. So find a way to say no. So identify the things in your calendar from previous year that you know you don't want to take part in the new year. That way when those things come to your inbox, maybe you can start to build some like pre-templated or canned responses to these types of things that are maybe they're not always like a hard no or totally ignoring them. Maybe it's like a soft bump to a no, meaning you give them a bit of the value what they're looking for, like you respond with a template that directs them to the FAQ on your website, directs them to an administrator in your company, directs them to, instead of having coffee with them, let them know that you're going to a big event in 3 weeks and they should definitely go, and that'll be a great chance to chat with you when you're there. And kind of you couple these events maybe that you go to with a chance to connect with some of these people that want these one-on-ones, coffees, beers, lunches, dinners with you that aren't valuable enough to allocate that time. What you can also do with even some of the things that are important to you is you can start booking your meetings by the 15 minutes. When you send somebody a 15 or 20 minute meeting request, or let them know that you have time, that you want to meet with them, but from 9:15 to 9:30, it really sends a message that you want to meet with them, but you're really busy and you want that 15 minutes to serve the purpose for the entire meeting. And if you give somebody an hour in a meeting, it takes an hour. If you give them 10 minutes, it takes 10 minutes. The content of the meeting, from an importance perspective, does not change. So I think right now, mid-January, for anybody that didn't hear my podcast or come across similar information out there on the web about setting fewer goals in order to have more time to actually achieve great success with your goals. You didn't hear that in December, but you're hearing it now in the new year. I don't even care if this is like March or June or September. If you're struggling and have given up on that big list of goals that you made, chop it down and finish the year strong. So, like, I think when you ask that question, you got more than you bargained for, but I think I said on my podcast too, it's literally one of my favorite topics, because I need to keep myself in check. I do this to myself all the time as well, so talking a bit about it helps remind myself also. Anyways, hopefully that